It's Friday the 13th, 2018, and Always with a Smile is on yet another bucket list experience, and this time we're off to China to trek the Great Wall. Now, I'm flying from Birmingham, the rest of the group is flying from London, so I'm going to be meeting them in Beijing. So I've got to do the first leg of the trip by myself, but I've already spoken to a few of the group online and it all seems really positive. They seem a great bunch and this should be another fantastic experience. Through customs. First part of my journey is a short flight to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam make our way to Beijing, where I'll meet up with the rest of the group. So just a 50-minute flight to reach Amsterdam, and now, not got very long, just about another half an hour before I board my flight to Beijing. So it took us about 9.5 hours to get here, not a bad flight. Arrived in Beijing, so now I've got to get my baggage, get through customs, and then hopefully meet up with the rest of the group. Oh, well, we've got a slight problem in that my luggage is still in Amsterdam and it's not arriving till tomorrow. So I don't really know what's going to happen. They've given me some paperwork and I'm now going to try and find the guys at Terminal 3. Yeah, it's a bit all up in the air. So, took the shuttle. Now, I've got to find the guys. God help me. Hopefully, I'm getting close. Hopefully. This place is a maze. How are you, my man?
Alright, your adventures are underway already.
I'm going to be Okay, so our first stop, rather than going straight to the hotel, we are going to have a look around Tiananmen Square and then the Forbidden City. That was a look around Tiananmen Square, and now we're off to the Forbidden City. Wow, there are so many people here. I think the solitude of the Great Wall might come as a blessing. So we're now leaving the Forbidden City. It's a cacophony of people, quite overwhelming but beautiful to look at. I think most of us are pretty tired though after the flight, and we're dying for something to eat. Okay, so now we've just got a short wait for the bus, which is going to pick us up and take us to the hotel, I think, or maybe something to eat, or both. So I've just got to the hotel after having dinner at the restaurant. Unfortunately, being a health conscious vegan, there wasn't a lot I could really eat. And because my luggage isn't with me, I've not got any of my supplies either. So I'm just doing a little recce to a market shop to see what I can buy. So the recce turned out to be not too useful. It was mainly full of cake and sweets, so at the minute I'm not really quite sure what I'm going to eat for the next 24 hours. So here I am in my room, and I've got my own room, which is a pleasant surprise. So I've just had a couple of hours sleep and a shower, so I'm feeling a lot fresher, a lot cleaner. I've managed to use some of the toiletries here at the hotel, managed to brush my teeth, which is brilliant. And I'm feeling a little bit more alert and awake after not a lot of sleep, obviously, during the flight. In a minute, we're going to go downstairs and all meet up in the lobby to have our first briefing about the trek ahead and to see what tomorrow's plans are. As for my luggage, well, it looks like that is going to be hopefully sent to tomorrow night's accommodation, so I'm still going to be without things for 24 hours, but it is what it is, and yeah, you know, you can't do anything about it, so just got to keep smiling and get on with it. Okay, so because it's a Saturday night and because of our riotous nature, we've been told that we have to go early for dinner before it starts to get busy. We've got a couple of commercials that are just about to happen. It's coming up to 9 o'clock and I've decided to call it a night. It's been an interesting start to the trek so far, what with my bag going missing. I'm struggling a little bit with the food so far, just trying to find foods that I can eat being vegan, and obviously not too keen on my fried and highly oiled foods. And because most of the food that I brought with me is in the bag that I haven't got yet, that's proving a little challenging. But hopefully when we get my bag back tomorrow night, that should alleviate that problem. And I'm sure as the trek goes on, I'll be able to find foods that I can manage. The group seems really nice. It's nice and small, there's only 10 of us. Everyone's in good spirits, and everyone seems really excited about the trek ahead. So we get up tomorrow, I'll go have breakfast, and then we've got about a 3-hour drive. We're going to have some lunch, and then we will start our trek, which, to be honest, I think we're all really looking forward to. Had a bit of milk. So I've just had breakfast and we're moving out for our bus journey. We've got about 3 hours, 3.5 hours drive at the start of the wall where we'll begin our trek. So So I've just drove about 3 hours to Hangwang and this is the first town which we're going to start our trek. So we've got accommodation here which we're going to check into now, and then we're going to have lunch, and then this afternoon we're going to do our first bit of trekking on the wall. And just driving in, seeing the landscape, seeing the wall, it really does fill you with a sense of excitement of what's ahead. So here we are, in Maroon. It's really nice. It's nice and cool in here. And so now we've got about an hour and a half, I think, for the guys to repack their bags. Obviously, my bag isn't here, so I'm just going to twiddle my thumbs for a bit, and then we're going to have some dinner, and then we're going to actually start our trek, which I'm just looking forward to so much. Well, just nipped in a shop, managed to get some supplies, got some almonds, so I'm going to have something on the trek this afternoon at least. Thank you. Okay, so we've just finished lunch, and we're now just filling up our water bottles, ready for this afternoon's trek. So here we are, after a rather precarious 15-minute coach ride, we are about to start a little trek to kick things off. Just experiencing what our first few steps of the wall is like, and it feels good to get going. So Clayton, we have finally started our trek. What are your first impressions of the wall?
Very impressive.
Yeah?
Very impressive.
Glad to get going?
Sorry?
You glad to get going?
Oh yes, definitely. Glad I got this.
Yeah, it's quite warm, isn't it? I wasn't quite
Yeah.
expecting this.
Fantastic.
So, why the Great Wall of China? What's brought you here?
Well, initially was on the bucket list,
Yeah.
but my daughter asked me to join her on this Discover Adventure.
So it's her fault then, is it? Yeah.
Yes. It's on this Discover Adventure trip. So just really chuffed she asked me.
Yeah.
What a magical thing to be doing with your daughter.
Exactly.
And pinching myself right now.
Yeah. And are you doing it for yourself? Are you raising money for anybody?
Yeah, we're raising money for Dorothy House Hospice.
Fantastic.
Fantastic people, do fantastic work, and just blown away by it all, really.
Excellent
And
stuff.
especially with a fantastic group of people. Brilliant.
Yeah. It's good you said that at the start of the week, isn't it? Right, we'll catch up with you later on anyway, my man. Thank you.
Take care.
A nice little run up the steps. My own little rocky scene here in China. Well, I guess this is what I imagined the wall to be like. Lots and lots of steps, lots going up and lots going down as well. It's absolutely glorious here. The weather is absolutely beautiful. The sun's shining, the sky's clear, and this is just a brilliant way to start the trek. Matt, we've started our trek. We've done our first few paces on the wall. What's your first impression?
Yeah, good. You can't argue with this scenery. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, much more beautiful actually than I thought it was going to be.
Legs all right?
Fine, yeah, so far, but like let's say it's only about an hour in, so...
And have you done anything like this before?
Not really. Probably the closest was the Yorkshire Three Peaks.
All right. And how did you find that?
I struggled, to be fair.
Yeah?
But I did it.
Was that in preparation for this? Or?
No, that was end of last year, so that's before I signed up for this one.
Ah, cool.
So I just wanted to do, yeah.
And you're doing it for any particular cause? You're doing it for your own bucket list?
Yeah,
or?
so I'm doing it for a good cause, local cause in Blackpool called Aspired Futures.
Right.
They sort of help and look after young and vulnerable kids and help them get through, well, anything really in life, and help them get a step up in life. And
sounds fantastic.
yeah, so I know the money will go to good use.
Good stuff, good stuff. Well, thank you, and we'll speak to you later on the track.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
First afternoon of trekking is complete, and what a great experience that was. It was absolutely stunning just walking along the wall. We couldn't have asked for better weather, and just served as a great introduction of what lies ahead on the rest of the trek. The group seemed really good spirits, everyone seems quite happy, really enjoying their time, and now we can get on with the major part of the trek. I've got some good news. My bag's arrived. So we've all just had a quick shower, cleaned ourselves up, and now we're going to go for some dinner. So that's our first day of trekking done. Just got back from dinner and they managed to make me something that I could eat, which is really good. We finally cracked it, so hopefully for the rest of the week now they'll kind of know what I can eat and what I can't. And because my bag's arrived, I managed to get back to the room and have some nuts and a protein shake too, so I'm feeling a lot more satisfied than I have been. Tomorrow we've got a 6:30 leave time, so we'll be up about an hour before. We go to the restaurant to have breakfast and make our packed lunches, because then we've got a full day of trekking on the wall ahead, so about 7 hours before we arrive at new accommodation tomorrow night. Good morning. It's coming up to 7:30, so we're just about to go outside and meet up, head down for breakfast and to pack our lunches. Slept okay. It does get quite cold at night, which was a bit of a surprise, so I had to put on a couple more layers when I was in bed, but slept reasonably well, and had a lovely ice cold shower this morning, which really woke me up. I'm just going to get ready for the day ahead. So we've just had breakfast and we're sorting out our packed lunches and doing our water. Packed lunches is sort of bread and cheese, so I think I'm going to be relying on the nuts that I brought with me. And today's trek, well, we start off basically on an ascent, heading towards something called Heaven's Ladder, which is 200 steps by a cliff face apparently, which we're all really looking forward to. We then go through parts of the old wall, going through the forest, and then finally we descend down into the valley, heading towards tonight's accommodation. So it should be a really good day's trek. Right, here comes. So we're just starting our ascent. First bit of climbing, really, prolonged climbing at least, of this trek, and just looking ahead at the landscape, it just looks absolutely beautiful. I feel very privileged to be taking this path along the wall. They said there'd be a lot of steps, and they weren't wrong. It's quite taxing on the thighs, I have to admit. Just trying to keep my breathing rate down, not try and get the heart rate too far up, make sure I'm working aerobically and taking in obviously plenty of water along the way. So we're now climbing Heaven's Ladder, 200 steps all the way to the top. I can see the top, just not far to go now. Wow, this is not easy. I think it's the intensity of the climb that gets you. On other treks, it's more of a gradual incline, whereas this, it really is quite steep when you go up, and so you have that sudden expenditure of energy. Your legs drain quickly, and you've got to make sure that you don't go too quick and burn yourself out. So Just got to try and take one step at a time, putting one foot in front of the other and just keeping your breathing rate down. So we're kind of working our way through a rather narrow ledge now, which means I'm giving Ben a bit of a heart attack because I've got the GoPro out. To actually just stop every now and again and make sure that you lift your chin up and have a look around, because the danger is that you spend all your time concentrating on your feet and where you're treading, and you really don't get to take in the scenery around you. And it's important that you just stop and do that, especially on a trek like this, because it is just beautiful looking around here. Yeah, go on. And that's lunchtime. So I've just had lunch, and this afternoon we're going through the forest before we descend down into the valley where our accommodation is. And I think this afternoon we're going to be walking for around sort of 2.5 to 3 hours depending on our pace, and then we can rest up later this evening. So Christine, we've just had lunch and we've set back on the trail again. How did you find this morning?
It was a bit tough, the more rural points.
Yeah.
Stairs, lots and lots of stairs.
Yeah, there were lots of steps. They told me there was lots of steps, but that was a lot.
Yeah.
I found it quite intense going up. How are the thighs?
They're still going. I imagine they'll freeze up later.
Very nice, very nice. And are you doing this for anybody? Are you raising money, or are you just, is it a bucket list thing, or?
My sister and I are doing it together to raise money for the Alzheimer's Society.
Rightio.
And that's in memory of our grandparents who passed away 1.5 years ago.
Fantastic.
Yeah, our granddad had dementia for the last 5 years of his life, so we wanted to do something in their memory.
Yeah.
And to raise money for charities.
And have you done anything like this before, or this is completely new to you? Or?
This is the first time I've done something like this, actually.
Wow.
So I'm really excited to see how the rest of the trip goes and to see that I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be fine. Well, we'll catch up with you later on the trek.
Sure.
So after this morning's climb and ascent, this afternoon we're obviously heading back down into the valley through this sort of forest and wood area. The scenery is quite majestic to look at. You just got to be a bit careful underfoot. It's quite clayey underneath, and so the surface of the ground can sometimes skid away. So a lot of the guys are using their poles to get down. Obviously it's not an option because I'm holding you. So Cliff, we're working our way through the forest part of the trek. How have you found it so far?
Oh, brilliant. Amazing scenery, amazing views, great weather. To be here in China on the Great Walls is an unbelievable experience.
Have you done anything like this before?
Not abroad. I've done a few challenges and treks in the UK.
Yeah.
First time abroad, pushing myself to something on this scale.
Yeah. It's quite tough. It's quite challenging. This morning I thought particularly going up so much, it was quite intense.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. The steps this morning were probably the hardest we've had. I'm hoping the hardest we have in the rest of the week. But Heaven's Ladder was definitely an experience.
Yeah. And are you doing this for anyone? Is it personal goal? Is it a bucket list thing, or is it a charity? Or
For charity, so I'm doing it in memory of my late stepbrother.
Rightio.
For the Epilepsy Society. So he had epilepsy all his life, and then passed away from SUDEP, which is sudden unexplained death from epilepsy.
Right. Okay.
So this is all in aid of him and raising as much money as possible for the society.
That's really good then. Fantastic cause. Well, so I don't break my neck walking backwards, I will catch up with you later on in the trek, my man.
Indeed.
Walking through this rather overgrown area of the wall now, and you can see from the landscape and the scenery around us just how beautiful it is, and we couldn't have asked for better weather to see this. It really does take your breath away. You sort of take a moment to stop and look, see all the greenery, all the colours that are out there. So we've just come off the wall, and we now have about a 20-minute walk to the village and our accommodation for tonight. So it's coming up to about 4 o'clock, so we've made good time today. We're being told that we are a very fast group. I don't know whether to believe them or not. I think they might be being nice, but so we'll have a bit of downtime, and then I think we're looking at going for dinner at about 6 o'clock. Very nice again, nice and cool. I've just come up to check my feet because they're a little bit sore. I think going downhill I get a little bit of rub on my toes, so I just thought I'd best come up, check my feet and see how they are and just cool them off a little bit. So it's around 3:30 now, so we're going to have a few hours just to have a wash, have a shower, a bit of downtime, and then we'll go out for dinner later. the end of day 2. It's been a tough day, but it's been a challenging day. The wall is quite intense. On your ascents it's quite steep, when you descents it's quite steep, and so your legs are really taking quite a pounding even though you're not actually travelling a great deal. This morning, according to my GPS, we did 3.5 kilometres, and this afternoon we did 4. So we've not actually gone very far, but you're having to put in a lot of effort to just cover that distance. The group's in really good spirits, everyone seems to be having a good time. The weather has been fantastic, and that's really added to it because it gives you the opportunity just to sort of look up, look around and see the beauty of where you are. And you know, it's quite majestic when you sit there and you think about, you know, the wall has been built over hundreds of years through many different dynasties, and you're there walking along it, all the history that goes with it, and it's quite something. Tomorrow we have around a 4-hour trek in the morning, and then we're going to get the bus to our new destination and start a new bit of the wall the following day. So everyone's really excited for that, and it should be a really good day. We just finished playing cards tonight, or trying to play cards, and it's coming up to 9 o'clock, so I think most people will be turning in soon, because everyone is pretty shattered after today's effort.
I've been awake since about 3:30 when 2 cockerels outside have decided to have a morning crowing competition. So I've not had a lot of sleep at all last night. So I'm feeling a little bit groggy, to say the least, so it could make for an interesting day.
So we're up and showered. I didn't manage to get back to sleep, which is not surprising. You can still hear the cockerel going in the background. So this morning we are going to get our bags sorted, get our water and have breakfast, and then we're basically going to start where we left off yesterday on the wall and walk a loop around and come back into the village after around sort of 4 hours before we then get on the bus and move to our new accommodation. So it should be a good day's trek. The weather's absolutely gorgeous again, so I've put my shorts on and looking forward to having the guys come down and seeing how they slept. We've just started this morning's walk. It always seems to be the case for the first few 100 metres. It's really hard. Just sort of draining the tiredness out of yesterday's legs and getting the energy in today's legs. Give it 5 minutes and I'll be fine. But I've got this initial steep climb, and then we're going to go up and around and then back into the village. We've been told that's going to take about 2 hours, and then we've got another 7 kilometres or so to walk from the village to get to the main road where we're being picked up. So I've got a second one of these giant apples in my trouser pocket, and I'm trying to decide whether I should get it out and eat it, because it is interfering with my leg stride. Yeah, the decision's been made. So a bit like yesterday, the trek really isn't half measures. When you go up quite steep, and when you come down at quite a rate. So it's these short, intense bursts of effort before you get to the flat.
standing in 3 provinces. We're now heading down the hill now, back to the village, where we're going to get onto the road and then walk about another 7k to the bus. Just walking down the hill at the moment. It's just quite beautiful with all the blossom on the trees. Jade, so we've just come down after trekking this morning. How did you find it?
Really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
It was a different kind of look today for me for the wall. I guess it was okay, there was some old bits, but I think today I sort of finally got like a real glimpse of it. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see the old wall and like all the views as well are amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So why the wall? Why have you come and done it?
It's something since I've wanted to do since I was about 16.
Right, yeah.
So it's taken 12 years to get here finally.
Yeah, yeah.
I had no one to do it with. None of my friends were interested.
Right.
My dad took pity on me.
Yeah, we've spoken to your dad earlier on. And you're raising money, aren't you?
Yeah, for Dorothy House.
And what?
They provide end-of-life care for terminally ill patients and support their families.
Fantastic.
And they're quite local to where we live in Bath.
Brilliant
quite nice
stuff.
To do something to give back to something local to us.
Yeah, sure it is, sure it is. And how are the legs holding up? Are they okay so far?
So fine. Ask me in 2 more days, maybe not.
Yeah, well we will. We'll ask you in 2 more days and see how you've got on. Thanks, fam.
Thanks.
So Carole, we've done a few days now on the wall. How have you found it so far?
Fine, brilliant.
Yeah?
Each day gets better.
It does, doesn't it?
Yep.
I thought today some of the sites were fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's nice to see the original wall rather than the restored wall.
Yeah. So why do the wall? What brought you here?
The power of advertising, I would say. It's something that never appealed to me.
Right.
But on Facebook, on Discover Adventures web Facebook page, they had a video.
Fantastic.
And I saw it and I thought, yeah.
Because you are quite well travelled, aren't you?
Reasonably well travelled.
What other things have you done?
Chile,
Yeah.
Everest Base Camp,
Wow.
Costa Rica, Brazil, Patagonia,
Wow.
Vietnam, Cambodia.
Life-
I'll stop there.
Life's to be lived then, is it?
Yep, I'm spending the children's inheritance.
And so you should. So are you looking forward to anything else on the wall? You got a particular day in mind what you think is going to be good, or?
No, I'll take each day as it comes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't blame you. Right, well, we'll catch up with you later on the trek hunt.
Okay then.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Right, so we've walked the 7 kilometres along the road, and we're at the bus now. So we've just nipped to the lavatory behind us, which was horrid, and now we've got about a 2.5 hour ride to the next village for our accommodation. So probably going to have some food on the bus and maybe catch a few Z's after last night's poor sleep. Well, what an absolute nightmare that is. It's 8:15 and we set off at about 1:45. So we've done about 7 hours travelling, and we've been stuck in traffic for around 5 of those hours, just not moving. So it's been pretty soul destroying. We've just literally got to the accommodation, just dropping our bags off. We're going to go for some food straight away, and then it's probably going to be bed. It's a real shame, but there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You're just sitting there. So you just got to make the best of a bad situation and keep smiling.
So I had a better night's sleep last night. It's about 8 o'clock now and we're going for breakfast at 8:30 where we'll do our bags and get our water sorted. The town that we're in at the minute is called Jinshanling, and today's trek is largely going to be covering parts of the old wall where it's not been restored. Apparently there's quite a few steps, there's a few steep bits. We're basically going to go around the wall again and then we're going to go onto some restored area of the wall, and hopefully later on today we should be able to catch some fantastic views just as the sun is coming down before we come back to the town here. So a good day's trekking ahead, and hopefully my feet are going to be okay. I've got a slight problem on one of my left toes, not quite a blister, but something's definitely not right, so I'm probably going to try and wear trainers today rather than my walking boots and see how that goes. It's always a bit of a risk when you're obviously trekking because I'm not going to have as much grip underfoot, but I've just got a feeling that this might develop into something if I carry on wearing my boots, so I'm going to give it a go and we'll see what happens.
So we've just had about a half an hour bus ride to where we're going to start our trek, and we're just making our way to the wall. And driving through, couldn't help but notice the amount of construction that was going on here. And Ben was saying that just a few years ago, where they were doing all this mass building, there were villages and towns and they've just been eradicated and moved elsewhere to allow for this building work, this construction work to go ahead. So it shows the investment that's going in, but it also does make you question, what is happening to people that have lived here, grown up here throughout the years, who are now being moved on, I guess, in the name of progress. Walking for about an hour now. Been up and down along the old wall, stopping every now and again just to take in the sights, to watch the wall stretch out across the landscape. It really is something you've got to see. Climb that a little bit higher. The wind is just picking up a bit more, and the drop off the other side of the slopes is a bit more as well. But at least with the wind, it's going to blow away a little bit of the mist that we've got, which will be great the longer the day goes on.
go round the military zone, it's really quite slippy underfoot. So a lot of people just losing their grip as they go down. I'm being especially careful because I've obviously not got trekking boots on, I've swapped them for trainers, so just got to take your time amongst this bit. So we've been walking for around 45 minutes or so, and you can see the wall again, which we'll be joining up with shortly. So Angela, today has been, well, it's supposed to be the longest day, the most difficult day of our trek. How have you found it?
Oh, it's been brilliant, yeah. It's been tough at times, lots of ups and downs.
Yeah, lots of steps.
Yeah, lots of steps, but yeah, more challenging, I suppose, in one way, with the terrain, but yeah, it's been really good.
And how are the legs?
The legs are fine, yeah. I can feel it in my calves,
Yeah.
especially sometimes.
So, what brought you to the Great Wall of China?
Just saw it advertised really,
Right.
and thought, wow, that looks amazing. So instead of having 3-4 holidays, I thought, right, I'll do something.
Fantastic.
Something amazing.
And is it just like a personal goal? Are you raising money or?
Raising money for Marie Curie.
Oh, fantastic.
So I raised about 2,200.
Oh, wow.
Doing different things.
That's impressive.
It's been interesting over the last year.
Yeah, and is this, is this trek sort of new to you? Have you done other treks in the past or other adventures?
No, first one I've done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will you come back and do something else?
Absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Well, we'll catch up with you later on the trek.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
So we've now made it to the 6-window tower, as it's called. It's kind of strange because they've got speakers blasting out music and commentary in Chinese. So you've gone from the peace and quiet of the wall suddenly to this area, and you've got music coming out of speakers. So the views of the wall, seeing where we've walked today, are absolutely fabulous. And we just had a look as well where we're going to go tomorrow, and I think we're deciding, or we're having a think about doing a sunrise walk, so we get on the wall to see the sunrise tomorrow morning. But that will depend on the weather, because if it's misty, then it won't be worth it, and we'll just do the normal trek. But we'll probably have some news on that later. So we've just got to the final tower that we're going to trek to today, and we're just waiting for the sun to go down so we can capture some photos of the sunset and just sit and enjoy the walk. that's a wrap. Sunset didn't really materialise, to be honest. It was too hazy, and when it got down low it just disappeared behind the haze. So we are now heading down off the wall, and we are heading back to our accommodation, ready for food and a shower. Another day is done. We've just finished having dinner, and we're just now showering after what's been a very long day, but a very enjoyable day. It's been really good to spend that much time on the wall, and as I said earlier, today was kind of what I imagined the wall would be when I wanted to come on this trip, and it just lived up to every expectation. Tomorrow. It doesn't look at this stage as if we're going for a sunrise, because the weather isn't good enough. So if that's the case, we're going to be going for breakfast about 7:30, and then we will start our trek, and our trek will last around 4 hours. We're starting at the same place where we left the wall today. We're just carrying further on, and then we've got about another 2-hour coach ride to our next destination. So tomorrow is looking like a very good day as well. So we're heading back to the wall now to start our final full day of trekking. We're going to join the wall basically where we left it yesterday and carry on along it, and the wall itself has been largely renovated where we are. There's supposed to be lots of steps. It's quite intense, but it's supposed to be very, very beautiful, so really looking forward to today. So we've been on the wall for about an hour and a half this morning. A lot of it has been restored, which means it's a lot easier underfoot. It also means there's lots and lots of steps. Again, the sun is shining. Got some fantastic views, especially when we go up onto the towers and see inside. It's just incredible. Our way along this section of the wall. Some of it has been renovated and some of it hasn't, and James, our guide, has told us that you can tell which bits are old and which bits are new by the tinge of the brick. The yellower the brick, the older it is, because components of the brick have oxidised over time. We've just had a spot of lunch in the tower that we're going to exit the wall from today, but before we do that we're just moving ahead to 2 more towers, basically going out and coming back, because the view from the second tower is supposed to be really spectacular. So we've just been up to the second tower, had a look round, soaked in the sights, and now we're heading back to the tower which we had lunch in, and we're going to head off the wall and back down to the coach, which is going to take us to the next town, our final town really for the wall anyway, Old Badaling, which is around 2.5 hours away depending on the traffic, because we're getting closer to Beijing. So it's possible that we might get stuck a bit like we did the other day, but hopefully not so bad. Okay, so we're on our way down now to meet the bus. It's about 1 kilometre, so it's going to take us probably about 25 minutes to half an hour to get down. It's a little bit posh. Well, this is a welcome surprise. A slight upgrade on our previous accommodation, and I can't wait to have a hot shower. So I've just had a very nice shower and wash, and I'm about to join the others for dinner. Well, today is our final day of trekking. It's coming up to 6:45. I'm just about to go and meet the guys for breakfast, to sort out our bags, our water, our packed lunches, and then we're going to set off for around a 4-hour trek, our final trek on the wall, and it's supposed to be a tough but very memorable trip to the wall today. So really looking forward to it, to cap off what has been a fantastic trip. After that, we are then going to get on the bus and we're going to make our way back towards Beijing. I think stopping along somewhere for a foot massage, which will probably be needed, before getting back to the hotel, and then we've got our celebratory meal tonight with everyone, which will be absolutely fantastic. I woke up this morning with a bit of a back spasm,
It's a risk I always have when I go on these treks. I've just took some painkillers. Hopefully it will calm down as the day goes on and I get a bit looser. But it's quite painful at the moment, so it's just something I want to keep an eye on.
Apparently, because we're just going straight up from the start, we're having to do a warm-up this morning. Well, here we go. Start the climb. The old babbling. So a lot of people are finding this tough because it is quite a steep slope or steps all the way up to the top, and I can see it in the distance. It's quite hazy again today, but we can see where we're heading. So I think tonight there might be some tired legs. I've left the rest of the group behind me and I've decided to go double time up the wall so I can get some fantastic pictures of them coming up. So we're nearly there, nearly at the top of the top, and it's been a great climb. Nice to open the lungs a bit at the end there. Some fantastic views. All the team's done really well. People huffing and puffing, but pleased to have made it. So we're heading back down now. Took a moment at the top just to gather ourselves, to look around, to soak it in, and now we're heading back down. Shouldn't take us too long, I wouldn't have thought, and we can then begin our celebrations after trekking the Great Wall of China. So Clay, we are, even though we're going uphill, on our way down, on our final day, on our final bit of trek of the wall. How's it going?
Absolutely amazing. For anybody that hasn't done nothing like this, you've got to do it. Got to do it. With beautiful, brilliant people, great fun, a lot of puffing going on up the hills, but just an amazing scenery. Not to, you know, as well as thinking of the charities, all the money for the charities. Yeah. But being able to do this is just, I can't put it in words.
What's the kind of the
memorable part of the trip for you? The one sort of thing that you're going to think, wow, or is it more just a general?
I would say it's more of a general thing. It's, to be fair, it's meeting everyone.
Yeah. Eating the chicken head.
Yeah, eating the chicken head, which I didn't. I hastened to add. But with a brilliant tour man in James, just fantastic.
Fantastic stuff.
And DA.
Superb, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we're about 150 to 200 yards from the coach now, and just making our way down. The group's quite tired, and don't think they're too keen for a follow-up interview, most of them, which is a shame, but the group's done really well. They've done really well. For me personally, I think what I'm probably going to take from this trip is just the vast scope of the war, you know, the history to it, how big it is, the undertaking that it was to build over centuries through different dynasties, and everything goes with it. And it is quite mind-blowing when you sort of take a moment to actually think about what it is that you're walking on. So I have to say that I'm really pleased to tick this off my bucket list.